you hear the term public speaking, what comes to your mind? When I became Muslim, he called me and he was like, you've just secured one of the biggest tours that you're going to have done, and it would have been a really big highlight in my career. But I actually turned it down.
You know, when you've had no money and then you suddenly just get a lot of money, it's easy to fall into a comfortable space, right?
People said that to me. How can you run a business? You're a single mom with 4 kids. Are you insane?
Because I do elite mindset coaching, they're like, how do I find my purpose? How do I find my purpose? What would you say to somebody? How should somebody find their purpose when they're in a place where they don't have a clue what to do?
I think we watch too many movies where we think there's going to be this big epiphany, and then suddenly, boom, the lights go out and you just have this light bulb moment and you know your purpose in life. Like, that's not reality.
See, one of the biggest things that people don't do is think. You have to take ownership of your life.
Welcome back to my channel where we discuss property, business, lifestyle and well-being. If this is the first time you are visiting my channel, then please hit the like and subscribe button. On today's episode, the spotlight is on Khalila Lister. She's a public speaking coach who helps entrepreneurs how to inspire, motivate and move your audience with speaking skills. In her other business, she helps women overcome that your circumstances do not need to define you. She's a single mom with 4 beautiful kids, and I'm really looking forward to speaking with her today. So once a week, what I do is I get, guests on like yourself, busy entrepreneurs, and then I just interview them. But I try to do it in one day, but I've realized I can't do more than 3. I can't do more than 3, but I'm okay with 3. I'm good with 3. Like, my mind's sharp, I'm focused. But when it goes more than 3, then I can't. Then it's not fair on the guest and it's not fair on me. So, but I'm still new to this. Like, I've been doing this about 3 months now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
how are you finding it?
It's interesting. It's interesting. You know what it is? It's like I'm doing it for a purpose. So it's like it has to be done.
Yeah.
And I'm learning a lot from it as well. So
it's a really good marketing tool. And also, I just had a look through your podcast. They're amazing. Like, it's just good messages. It's fresh. So mashallah, it's good.
Well, we're trying. Look, I mean, the first 3 months for me is all about learning, and then after that we'll see, and then we'll pivot. But let's back on you. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate that. So just introduce yourself in like 2 minutes, and just let people know what you do and who you are.
Okay, so my name is Khalila Lister, and I am a public speaking coach. I run the first public speaking academy in the world for Muslims, and I've been doing that now for a year. It's called Power of Voice Academy. It's been such an amazing thing to do. I've coached some phenomenal women. I'm also a TEDx speaker, international speaker, motivational speaker, basically anything with the title speaker, that's me. And I'm very passionate about showing that, yes, obviously, elephant in the room, I choose to cover, I'm a revert Muslim, but however you dress, however you show up, whatever your values are, they don't need to be a limitation. Success is still possible. And that's something I'm really passionate about sharing. I'm also the first live niqabi television presenter in the UK. I just started working for Islam Channel, which is a big channel that's on Sky TV. So that's been a lot of fun as well. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell, really.
Very interesting. So you've been doing this for 12 months, right?
Yeah, I opened it up in January of last year.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
35. I'm 35.
We're the same age.
Yeah, I'm not a baby. Are we the same age? 87?
88.
Okay.
So I'm younger, right?
Just a little bit.
Feels good though.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
When you get past 30, anyone that's when you're a bit younger, it's like.
Yeah, but you know what? Your true wisdom years really kick in when you're 30. So
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
let's take it back a little bit. So obviously you're a Muslim, you're a revert Muslim.
Yeah.
So it didn't start off like that. So at what age, I just want to know at the age when you started being interested in business, becoming a Muslim, like where was that?
So basically, before I was Muslim, I went to stage school. So I've always been in the performing world. And I was actually a host. I was on radio stations like BBC. I was doing a lot of work like that in my young teenage years, actually. And I started to host for some pretty big celebrities. I was really working up and down the country, hosting, opening events. And I would say that's actually what caused me to transition into becoming a Muslim, because the bigger the celebrities that I met, and we're talking about multi-billionaire record company owners, I was in the company of them all the time. I really started to see that when the cameras went out and all the lights went out and they're not on the stage anymore, a lot of them are really depressed. So this thing that we're chasing, right? Not everyone, I'm just saying a large majority of people in that industry, they're numbing their feelings with drugs, intoxicants, because they've got the success, but it's not fulfilling them. Because no matter how much money you get, there's always a void. That's what I noticed. So I was like, there's got to be more than this. And that's when I really went on a long soul searching journey into many different religions. And I came to find Islam, to me, to make the most sense.
And what age was this?
I was 18 when I started looking into Islam, and I became Muslim in 2007 when I was 19. So it's been about 15 years now. I can do the maths. Wow. It's been a minute. So yeah, my transition to where I am now has been a long journey. It didn't just happen overnight.
When you became a Muslim, did you start wearing the full veil straight away?
No, not straight away. But when I became Muslim, obviously, like I said, the life I was in, I was quite known at the time in the circles that I was in.
Yeah.
And I think what really made me be like, okay, this isn't going to work. Because obviously I'm introducing men whose lyrics were like, women are, I don't even want to say the words, but you know, and Islam taught me actually, no, women are queens. And we don't need to be degraded like this. We don't need to be spoken about like this. And I think that was the moment, because my agent, when I became Muslim, he called me and he was like, you've just secured one of the biggest tours that you're going to have done. And it would have been a really big highlight in my career. But I actually turned it down because, like I said, it would have been opening stages to people that were speaking about things that now as a Muslim, I couldn't be part of. It didn't work for me. So I really just shut that life down. I didn't know how to bring the person I was into the woman I was becoming. It was really a transitional age for me going into my 20s. I had no idea how these worlds could work together. So I started covering slowly across the years, but I fell in love with the full covering. I just found it when I met sisters that were dressed like that. You know, it's not obligation. It's not something that I would say, oh, it makes me better than anyone else. It's just a personal choice that I saw as something really beautiful that I love to embrace, and allowed me, I just feel free. I feel so much more free like this than I did in the way I was dressed before. So
well, good on you. And you know, you should do what you feel and what's right.
Right.
That's really, really good. Okay, so I've got loads of questions written for you. I know we only have 45 minutes, but I'm going to get through them all, hopefully, inshallah.
Let's go.
Okay, so how much personal development work have you actually done on yourself?
Oh, wow. Does it ever end? Where does it start? I think for me, like I said, when I became Muslim, I didn't know how to bring the performer, the speaker into what I was doing. And so I did nothing. I mean, I say I did nothing. I had children, which, sorry, is the most undervalued role in society. I had children. I have 4 kids. And I actually I ended up in a very abusive marriage. So I came out of that in 2020. And it was there, you know, I'm in rock bottom. I have nothing, you know, it's very cliche to have that rags to riches story, but that is my truth. I really had nothing. I had nothing to my name. I had 4 children, one being a baby in 2020. And it was at that point where I was like, I can't return to the job I was doing at the time, which was teaching with children. I can't do it. And it was literally that moment that made me realize that I need to run my own business. I need to do something where I can choose the hours, because I want to be present with my kids, right? And I would say that that was a big self-development journey for me going into business. I really feel like it's been that journey since 2020 that allowed me to find my voice again, that investing in myself, in using my brain again, in being able to impact other women as well, and other men. I've worked with men as well, and it's just been amazing. So I would say that journey for me really happened deeply in 2020, and I'm still working on it. It's still a progress, but it's definitely been around that time.
Okay, so have you hired any specific coaches or mentors or gone into any, do you want to name a few, like who's helped you?
Absolutely. So I just think it's so important to always be in self-development, to be having coaches. I don't think there's ever the top level where you don't need a coach. Everyone needs a coach, right?
100%.
Even if it's just to push you. I've invested, I mean, you wouldn't even believe, I've invested thousands and thousands and thousands, and I don't regret it at all, because I feel like everything you put in, you get back when you do the work. You have to be, one thing I would say is, if you're going to hire a coach, you have to be an action taker. I've seen many people, they put the work in, but I mean, they pay and they go into the courses, but unless you're willing to do the work, it doesn't always help. So you have to be willing to do the work. But for me, yeah, I've trained with some of the best top public speakers in the world. I've trained with Lisa Nichols. I don't know if you've heard of her.
No.
It's phenomenal. So I was coached by her. I was coached by another amazing, one of the top TED speakers in the world who is in Scandinavia. I got coached by him. I've had coaches for entrepreneurship. I certified as an entrepreneurship coach because why not? To do the work that I'm in, I want to make sure I can serve my clients to the best that I can. So I've done coaching and qualifications in many aspects in the business and entrepreneurship world, and the public speaking as well.
You're absolutely right. It's a constant growth. I mean, what we're in March now? Yeah, we're March. I mean, this year I've already spent 30 grand already.
What I'm saying, it's just
and I know, because you know,
invaluable.
Yeah, 100%. And because, you know, you're of the similar, you know, you think elevated space, and you just know that you're going to 10x that. So it doesn't really matter. You've got a bigger picture, right? You're looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah. It can never stop developing. Every time you think you've reached a milestone, I don't know about you, but I'm always like, I hear the next thing and I'm like, oh, I want to do that too. But I just feel like the more you pour in, if you're a coach especially, the more you can then give as well. So yeah, I love
definitely 100%. But it's also really important that we have to stay focused, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we can get carried away, but you know, it's just part of probably our personalities. But at the end of the day, because we're so experienced, we always do get back onto what needs to be done, right?
There's times where you're just like, okay, this isn't serving me. Even if you've spent money, if it's, I feel like time is more valuable. So if it's not serving, it's kind of like time to call it quits.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, so you told me you got 4 beautiful kids. How do you find time for kids? And you got 2 businesses. How do you find time? Have you got are you one of them? Have you got multiple staff around you all the time?
Yeah, I do. Do you know what? Firstly, some of my staff are my kids. So my video editor, I homeschool as well. So as much as that might be crazy, because then they're at home.
It's not crazy.
It's also a really big benefit, because obviously they're able to develop in their skills. So my son is a phenomenal video editor. So he's one of my staff, and he's earning money at 12 years old. And I just think him being able to be really hands-on in the business, he travels with me when I go to speak and he edits all my videos. And that's just a really big blessing to have the kids involved. So I think people said that to me. How can you run a business? You're a single mom with 4 kids. Are you insane? But actually, I really feel that me doing entrepreneurship is the best thing I've ever done for my children, because it's allowed them to see that if they have a dream, it's possible. You just have to put the time and the work into it. And I involve my kids. It's not like I'm on the laptop and I'm like, go away. You know, they're around, so they get to develop as well. And I literally, I'm like, right, come and listen to this. Listen to what this person said. So they're getting that experience. So if you want something, you can make anything happen. And I just say that I refuse to be a product of my circumstances, that to be a single mom means that you just have to stay in a limbo. Growth is possible. We have to just want it enough, you know?
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. And we're living in that era of entrepreneurship, and you're teaching about the right thing at the right time. And I'm sure, I'm not 100%, but I'm sure it says that in the scriptures as well. So about family, something about family business, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to say it. Okay. You help people become public speakers. Tell me more about exactly what you do and who your target audience is, because I've noticed, I read on your Instagram. Do you want to just clarify it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with entrepreneurs, experts, and thought leaders. So anyone that has a message that they can bring to the world and impact the world, or anyone that's in business, because your voice is the greatest tool that you own in your business. Yeah. People really underestimate how important speaking is and communication. It's the greatest way to connect in with people. It's honestly the best way to sell. You know, if you think about masterclasses, you're able to put yourself in front of literally thousands. If you get on a stage, you can again put yourself in front of thousands. And people fear public speaking. It's actually the number one biggest fear in the world, not like the dark or spiders or anything. It's public speaking, but it really is a skill. It's something that is so easily learned with the right skills put in place. And so I really help my clients to get over the fear, firstly, and to be able to speak with a purpose, because there are strategies that great speakers use to be able to really captivate the audience, to become memorable. You know, storytelling, for example, our brains are wired for stories. So if you know how to tell a great story with a purpose, that it becomes story selling, you can actually sell really well with your stories. And this is the work I do with my clients.
Okay, interesting. So so all entrepreneurs, or is it just females or everyone?
My main audience has been Muslim women, just because that's a really under targeted market. By that, I mean Muslim women. I've done so many events and I meet these women are incredible. They're like lawyers and accountants, and they've got like these huge, amazing jobs, and then they're so afraid to speak. So I'm really trying to create a space to change the narrative. But I work with non-Muslims, I work with men, you know, whoever is interested in what I can provide, I'm happy to work with, as long as they are in, you know, I won't work with a racist, that's all I'm saying. Okay. They have to be open, you know. Obviously, I'm a Muslim woman. It is what it is, but that doesn't mean that there's a barrier. I'm happy to work with people and help them to up level, and I do. One of my clients, she's an international author. She's not a Muslim, and she came to me and she said to me, the reason I want you to coach me is look at what you've done. You've been on TEDx, you've been on stages in front of thousands, and you're covering your face. So now anything is possible for me. So I'm like,
yeah. So how can somebody find your prices, and what are your prices? What do you charge? Do you have different programs like small, medium, like academy, masterclass? What is it?
So I run a group for Muslim women. So this is my women's group, not necessarily Muslim, but women. And my group coaching is called Stage School. And that's a 10-week live coaching program where they also get a library of resources, and it takes them through every single thing I've done to build my business up organically, literally using your voice. And I also do one-to-one coaching with people who want to go that bit further. And this way we can build on masterclasses or keynotes. A lot of my clients, they come to me and they've got a keynote to do, and they just need that coaching to be able to deliver it really, really powerfully and memorably. So for example, if you're going to do a TEDx, you need a coach. So you need someone like me.
So do you also help them get some gigs and that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll help them know how to book more stages, how to reach out, where to reach out, to be able to get more.
I might hire you as my coach.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It's amazing what you can do and where you can go. You just have to know how to do it, basically.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so you wear a veil. And these days a lot of people are really ignorant. What perception do people have when they see you in the full veil? Like what's the feeling you get? I mean, you are a good judge of character, you're a coach. What's the perception that you get? Tell me.
I think, funnily enough, I haven't had, apart from online here and there, I haven't had a lot of bad reactions. I think because once I start speaking, you can really get past that barrier. So one of the main things, for example, when I did TEDx, so it was in Santa Barbara, California, and it's a really, really, it's not a very multicultural area where I did the interview. And the producer of it, he was just like to me, I have never had a conversation with a Muslim woman before. And one of his questions to me was, how do people respond to you being in business? How does your community respond to you as if this was unheard of? And I'm like, well, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, his wife, who's called Khadija, was an entrepreneur. She was a leader. He married her and she was his boss. So he was just in absolute shock, because this is not the narrative that's portrayed in media. We don't hear this, but this is the reality, that entrepreneurship is very much from as old as we can remember in Islam. It's not new. So I think that is a really big misconception that's carried, that because Muslim women should be silent and in the kitchen and have no skills, and it couldn't be further from the truth. So I think I'm working through helping to overcome that prejudice or ignorance, if you like, and people are really open to it once we have those conversations. And I feel like that's the message. We need to be having these conversations. Otherwise, we can't blame people for thinking that if we're not in the spaces, you know?
Yeah. And probably when they hear you speak better English than them. So
I've
like,
had that before. I've had that before. Like, go back to your country. I'm like, well, where am I going?
yeah, going back to it. Where are you based?
I'm in London.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I'm in London tomorrow for like 2 hours and then I'm back in Manchester.
Are
But yeah.
you Manchester? Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so have you ever been attacked for wearing the veil? I really wanted to ask you that.
Do you know what? I haven't, alhamdulillah, and I know that it's not impossible. It does happen. There was a time I used to live in Middlesbrough. I don't know if you know
Oh,
where that is.
really? Of course I know. We've got restaurants up there.
So when I first became Muslim, my ex-husband, he lived in Middlesbrough, so I moved up there. This is going back 12, 13 years. Oh, nearly knock over my tripod, sorry.
Right.
And yeah, so I lived in Middlesbrough, and the thing with Middlesbrough is, so if you know it, you know it. There's a lot of Muslims in one area, but you go into the town centre and it is, at that time, I don't know about now, but it was really racist. So they used to shout abuse at me all the time. And there was a day that we went to the park, and there's me obviously dressed like this, and then there were a group of men that they were like skinheads. They were not looking at us very nicely. They had dogs, and my heart was kind of racing a little bit. I was unsure because there was a big group of them, and they just walked straight past us. And I just remember ahead hearing a scream, and obviously we ran to go and check, and it was this young girl, and she said to me that she'd actually removed her Islamic dress out of fear of these people, but for some reason they had attacked her and not us. And I always hold on to that because I just feel like that was a big message for me, that we don't need to fear people. You know, what's going to happen is going to happen, but anything could have happened that day. But that was just a story to remind me that I didn't take it off out of fear, and you know, it's been okay. But obviously we have to be mindful.
That was a message from God or something, right?
Well, yeah,
to make you,
yeah.
Okay, so how do you make your money?
Good question. How do I make my money? Well, through
It's one of the most important things in life, right?
Right? Money makes the world go round, subhanAllah. Basically, I get paid to speak. I'm at a point now where speaking is one of the best paid industries in the world. Once you get to that level of professionalism, you become a professional speaker, people will pay you well to speak because they know what you can bring. So I get paid to speak as a motivational speaker. I get paid as a coach. Obviously, I coach my clients, and those would be my main sources for sure. Online courses, digital courses, courses, live coaching, and speaking events.
Okay, so my next question would be, how do you invest your money?
In staff.
In staff.
In staff. This is one of the ways I invest my money back into my business, to make sure that I've got staff that can help me. Because I feel like in the beginning, when it was only me, before I was able to afford to pay people, you just run into burnout. And I feel like as a business owner, you need to be center stage. So the people behind the scenes are doing all the putting things together, the funnels, everything like that. I don't have to worry about anymore, which is such a blessing. I've got an amazing OBM who keeps me sane, called Alina. Love her. And other members of staff as well. And what else do I invest in? Self-development, always. Like I said, I'm always investing. At the moment, I'm studying the brain science of communication. So obviously I've certified as a public speaking coach, but now I'm going a bit further. And I'm like a geek for this stuff. It's crazy. I never thought I would be like that. I left school at 14, like literally no GCSE to my name. But now I'm back and really into self-development. And I just feel like you can never stop building up your knowledge. So that's where I'm at the moment. But obviously I'm going to look into investing in things like property and things like that. We're moving towards that soon.
That's really good. Yeah, because that would have been my next question. Like, do you invest in property and real estate and that sort of thing?
We're getting there. I'm still only in my just over first year of business, but we're definitely moving towards that. And yeah. I think you've got to be smart. You've got to put your money to make more money. That's an area that you're really in, right?
Yeah. So I've been doing properties for like years now, and I'm launching a webinar next week about how to create proper wealth through property. And there's only a few strategies which you can't really do, but I really believe that everybody first work on your business to produce your income, and then dash it into property just to create wealth.
Do you know what? It's so important, because I look at someone like my dad, who was a manager of a big company, who never invested in anything. And I can see people now as an entrepreneur I feel like entrepreneurs have a different mentality somehow, who are invested in property, and that's how you grow. So
Definitely.
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. And you don't even need much money, to be honest. I mean, these days, especially if you're in the online digital space, like the amount of money you can make, I mean, there's good opportunities out there, especially this year and next year. So whenever you're ready, just hit me up. I'll help you out.
I will, absolutely. Amazing.
Okay, so you are a very successful and a very busy entrepreneur from watching you. Where does your drive come from?
I think it comes from that time where in 2020, like I said, and I'd just given birth to my 4th child, and being a single mom, you have everything on your shoulders. The weight of the world is on you, the bills, the food, and my kids are just looking up at me to be able to make everything okay. And I never ever want to get back to that place again where I'm opening the cupboards and I don't know what I'm going to give them for dinner. I don't want to ever get back to that place. So that was a really big drive for me, to be able to, at the beginning, stay up well into the night and put in long hours to be able to create what I have now. But now I would say my drive really comes from the space that there are not enough women who look like me. There are not enough Muslim women whose voices are being heard. And I feel like it really needs to be changed, that there doesn't need to be this stigma and this misunderstanding that we need to stay silent. Because as a Muslim, I didn't know how to bring my character, my personality as a new Muslim anyway. And that isn't the case. Being a Muslim is a value, is something you believe in. As with anything in life, whatever you believe in, that doesn't need to stop your success. So I'm really driven by changing that narrative, that you can still gain success without sacrificing your values, and to keep showing up. And the women that I've worked with and been able to impact, they keep me going. Seeing the changes for them in their lives when they're on the stages or they're coaching their clients and they're able to communicate powerfully, that's a really huge drive as well.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, like, when you've had no money and then you suddenly just get a lot of money, it's easy to fall into a comfortable space, right? But then from there, after that, it's just purpose and, reasons like you're just mentioning is what's going to take you to that next level, isn't it?
100%. You have to be passion-led. I don't think it's possible long-term anyway to be happy in the business you create unless you've got a really strong passion, and it can be felt as well. This is something we say in the speaking business, that a passion speaker, a person who speaks from passion, is going to be so much more memorable than someone who is just speaking content. Even if you're a professor, you're going to be remembered by your passion, and that's the kind of speeches that go viral.
Definitely. Okay, so that leads me to the next question. What is your purpose in life?
I mean, as a Muslim, my purpose in life is to worship God. So that's where I'm at, in all honesty, in all transparency. For me, it is to be the best person that I can be and worship my creator. And then in terms of personal development, just to keep showing up and serving this community, because this is the first public speaking academy in the world. And I intend to just continue to take it bigger and bigger and impact more and more people. So I would say that will be my purpose.
Okay. And
to be a good mum, let me not forget my kids.
Yeah. You are probably someone who's done a lot of work, and clearly you have, but somebody who's like in the early 20s, just a little bit lost. And because I regularly, about probably 10 messages a day, people message me all the time, because I do elite mindset coaching. They're like, how do I find my purpose? How do I find my purpose? And I have got a way to say what I'd say, but what would you say to somebody? Like, how should somebody find their purpose when they're in a place where they don't have a clue what to do?
Really good question. I would say that I think we watch too many movies where we think there's going to be this big epiphany, and then suddenly, boom, the lights go out and you just have this light bulb moment and you know your purpose in life. Like, that's not reality. Sometimes it's going to take a whole heap of a journey to discover what you want to do. But I would say keep making the steps forward. In life, we're never standing still. We're either going forward or backwards, right? So we have to say to ourselves, they need to say to themselves that you are enough. You are worth taking the steps. So to just stay still in the comfort zone, you're actually going backwards. But if you want to start going towards finding your purpose, you have to just put yourself out of that comfort zone, and it's going to be worth it. Even if you're in the grind, the beginning bit, it's not ever going to be easy. I think we're in an industry where the coaching industry is quite toxic, and it can really make out as in, it's just going to be easy and a walk in the park, just buy my coaching course and your happiness is going to be on your doorstep. And to be honest with you, I don't know if you agree with me, but that's not reality. Reality is hard work. You put the hard work in, play hard, play later. I've lost the saying. What is it? Play hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's what is it? What's that saying now? You do
work hard, play harder. I don't know.
That's it. Yeah, work hard, play.
Like
yeah.
Whatever it is, but the meaning is, if you put the work in, you're going to get it out. At the end of the day, now I put a lot of hard work in. Now I'm at a point where I can tell my staff to get on with it, and I can take a vacation or whatever it is that we need to do. So you don't need to expect that overnight. And I think when we compare ourselves to people who are 10, 20 years in, and we're in the beginning, it can become really frustrating. So compare yourself to where you're at and keep making steps forward. That would be my message.
Definitely. It's crazy when people compare themselves to someone else. I mean, yourself, like everyone lives in their own kingdom, and there is no such thing as competition, right?
Yes. A collaboration over competition, 100%. There is no such thing as competition. We have a saying in Islam that's called risk. And that means that whatever money you're going to make is written. So even if someone could stand next to me and be a public speaking coach, and we're both saying the same thing, whoever's supposed to come to me, my clients, they're going to come to me. So don't worry and watch what other people are doing. Just keep working on yourself. That is the best lesson I've learned over this period of time in business, honestly.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree with that. Do you have any plans on your exit plan to leave UK eventually?
Yes. I don't have plans to be here a long time. I feel like the UK just eats your money, eats your healthy mentality. No, I don't intend to be here long term. I think it's good for me. I have family around, and there's a lot of sisters, especially that I'm working with in the events that I do. But long term,
where are you thinking?
Personally, UAE, that'll be on my list. I think it's a really good thing to build a business, to build entrepreneurship. There's a lot of good opportunities, but it's still quite easy to come back when you need to, because obviously I've got family here. That would be me. What about you?
Yeah, I don't want to be in this country. Next 5 years maximum.
Yeah, 100%. I'm looking at 3. Hopefully, I don't want my kids to be adults here. And my oldest is almost 14, so I haven't got long.
Yeah. And you know what? 5 years just flies. If you remember the last 5 years, it's too fast. So, and have you heard of Andy Harrington?
I have. Yeah, he does the public speaking too. Yes.
What do you think of him?
Yeah, really good. I think he's great. Obviously, he is helping people primarily in what I do, which is to be able to communicate powerfully. He helps you to get up on the stage. He's really, really good. He's really good. I think it just depends on when you're choosing a coach, you just need to go with who you feel with in integrity, who's pulling you towards what you need to do. But definitely he's got some good tips for sure.
Okay. I think we've got like 6 minutes left, so I'm glad I've got a videographer. You know what happened like 3 months ago? I wanted to, was it 4 or 5 months ago? I can't remember now. I really wanted to get into social media, and I thought about branding, and that's when I just hired a full-time team. And when you told me that your son does the videography and the edits, and I'm like,
on to him. He's still open, by the way. UI Edits, you can go and check him out. Little plug for him.
Edit, yeah. He's probably busy doing all yours though, right?
I know, right? Honestly, no. He loves it. He's so good.
Some final messages from you to people, like any last minute words, and where can they really find you and that sort of thing. Okay,
so you can find me across social media at Power of Voice Academy. My website is www.powerofvoiceacademy.com. I'm always loving connections. I love coming and speaking at your events. I love connecting with you. So anything that you have, you can definitely get in touch. My final message would be, if you have a message that you feel can impact the world, don't hold back, because it can literally change people's lives when you speak up. often the fear comes from fear of sounding incompetent. What if I make a mistake? The number one thing my clients come to me is, how do I stop saying all the time? And actually, I'll give you a quick tip to stop saying pause. Train your brain to pause. The reason we say is it's a filler word. So when we say or like, all these kind of filler words, it's because we're searching for time. But if you just pause, it does two things. It gives great impact to your audience. It kind of has them on the edge of their seat. They want to hear more. And it also allows them to digest what you're saying. So if you keep practicing, what I tell my clients to do is to open up a WhatsApp group with themselves and keep practicing speaking and practicing without saying And that makes a huge difference, because when you say it makes you sound incompetent. It makes you sound like you don't know what you're talking about. It makes you sound like you're not confident. So that is just one thing. If you can change anything about your speaking, practice pausing instead of saying the filler words. But honestly, it's amazing to be able to share your message. And it's never about you. It's about the people who can benefit from hearing your words. So don't hold back. Just get out there, reach out to people and tell them what you do and that you want to come and speak. Even if you speak for free in the beginning, that's a great way to build up as a speaker. And eventually you can start charging your worth. So definitely get out there and get speaking. That would be my best tip.
Well, that's so powerful, and that's a great tip. I think I'm going to take that as well, because I'm sure
Yes.
I do that as well. Do I?
Everyone
I don't know. I'm going to have to listen back to it. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Khalila. I really appreciate that. And what we'll do is I'll message you and let you know when the episode will be coming out. And a week prior to that, we'll do a promo and all that, them videos. And then I'll send you some clips as well. And, then if you want to clip them and, do whatever you need to do, you can do that as well. But, separately, I just wanted to ask you, because I'm launching a webinar myself.
Yes.
Any advice for me? Like, because do you you've got online programs and that sort of thing. Do you put ads behind them?
I'm literally working with an ad campaigner now. We're working on ads, but up till now, no. And it can be done organically. I actually have templates for webinars and masterclasses if you're interested. I literally do it with people that they just get to put their content in, and I've got the whole thing mapped out to be able to show you how to do something called blended selling. So you're literally selling all the way through and people don't realize. So I do have that.
Well, my webinar is almost ready now, but I'm sure, I am going to hit you up about the public speaking thing. I'll probably speak to you about that and see how we can work together on that. I mean, because I've almost spent like 10 years in prison, me. And,
have you?
And so that's where I've done a lot of personal development work.
Oh, amazing. And then do you know what? I'm working with a charity, did you see, called Forgotten Sisters? Did you see any of that?
No.
So I'm working with a charity. We're doing an event next Friday, and it's for Muslim women in prison, because the majority of Muslim women, it's ridiculous. The majority of Muslim women in prison are from Pakistan. So obviously when they go into prison, their families cut them off. So they have nothing. So we're really working to raise money to help them to have iftar and sahur in Ramadan.
Wow,
it's a Spot Project. I don't know if you've heard of Spot Project, which is Muslim Bilal. He's a rapper.
No. But I'll tell you who reached out to me last week. In Manchester, there's the biggest prison in Manchester called Strangeways, and the governor reached out to me yesterday, and he asked me to come and see him. And he said, "We heard about you on the news. Can you do one workshop in here every week?" And I was like, and for us, it's about giving something back. And I said, "Look, you won't be able to afford my fees. I'm going to be honest with you, but I'll just do it for free."
Yeah.
I said, I might not be able to do once a week, but I'll commit to 2 times a month if I'm coming in for 2 hours. And, God, gives us more, right? So, but that's my commitment. I thought, but spent 10 years somewhere, right? Why not give something back?
Yeah. And, it can literally give people hope, because that's what we're finding. Because the sisters who I do the charity with, they were in prison. And that's obviously where started it from. And they were just like, the Muslims get so neglected. The men, I don't know how you found it, but the brothers, there tends to be a little bit of a community, but for the sisters there really isn't. There's nothing.
Because they're separate. I wouldn't even know. But prison is a dark place, isn't it? So it's just everyone's in their own kind of lane type thing. But but I'm sure I'll reach out to you definitely. But listen, we've got like 30 steps and I don't want you to cut off. Thank you so much for coming on. And
thank you for inviting me.
No problem. And stay in touch. And if I can do anything for you, just reach out to me and I'll do the same.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.